Okay, double check. Audio seems to be coming through okay. If there's any issues, let me know. But here we are. I've got to paint an army for an event, and I haven't finished painting any of them yet. This is the first I've got on one model. Most of them are still in this condition. So, base coated, but no detail work or anything done yet. Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one. I've got until the 3rd of March when I leave here to get to the event to try and get everything finished. So, yeah. Just sorting out which brushes I need. A few little bits and pieces I've got to get done for, well, got to get sorted out still. So, even the basing, I haven't even started that yet. They're just super glued to an empty base at the moment. So the entire army has, I think it's 21 models. Valerian and a shield captain. 3 units of 4 custodian guard. One of the units has a shields, the other 2 units have the spears. I also have 3 Terminators, 1 Vexillus Praetor, and 3 Virtus Praetors. If I've done the math right, that should be 21. So what I'm going to do is just try and get some stuff base coated on these 2 models today, some of the extra detail work base coated, and then we can go from there. So for the shield captain, that'll be all he's really got left to do is the leather and the spear. For Valerian, we're going to start that off with the spear tip. So I'm going to use, the way I do it is to start at the darkest colour and then work my way up. I know a lot of people disagree with that method. It's what works for me, it's the only way I've ever done things. And by the only way I've ever done things, I mean I've done 3 of these weapons before. I have never done blending on power weapons until now. This army is my excuse to learn how to do it. Or at least learn how to do it competently. The only time I've ever done, I should say I've done the blending before, but I've always done it with an airbrush. So that's a very different sort of beast to deal with. I'm nearly out of black in this pot. It's a good thing I've got another one sitting in the shed. So I did have several different armies that I was thinking about taking for the event, but in the end it became, I'm going to take Custodes, because it's a low model count and I would have had to paint too much stuff for the other armies. My first choice was to get, given that there's 5 kids in the house now, I was going to get them to paint a unit each of Tyranids, and then get them to paint a monster each, and that would have made up a full army. The event's, and it's a weird points limit for the event, it's 1350. So getting kids to paint a unit and a monster each would have been pretty light work for them, and it would have been a full army. So I'm just going to start, I'm just going to do the entire section of the spear in black, and then I'll come back and pick details. Some of it's supposed to be silver, some of it's supposed to look more like a leather wrap. start dark and work my way up. You'll also notice I don't have heads on any of the models yet. They're all on toothpicks like that. Originally I was going to be running a layer and some Sisters of Silence as well, but from the game I tested them in, they just died far too quick. I want to love Sisters of Silence. I love the models, I want to love them as an army to use, but they're just so bad. Got to make sure I stay in frame. GW really needs to do something with the Sisters of Silence. Give them some extra rules, give them some vehicles and stuff. Make them worth playing as an army. They told us with the Custodes Codex that you could use them as a standalone army. And technically you can, but only if you want to lose all your games. Even at 1,000 points, you either end up with far too many Sisters of Silence, so it's painful to do a movement phase and a shooting phase, or you have so many Rhinos because it's the only way you can get any anti-tank, and then they all die getting out of transports. I've tested extensively on this. And anyone who follows me on Twitter knows I keep saying that the Charon Inquisitor from Forge World needs to be moved to 40k as well as 30k. Because that would solve the anti-tank problem, and it would give a transport that's worth taking. It has some... what are the weapons on? I think it's autocannons, multi-melters, all that sort of stuff on there in one vehicle. And even if it was the sort of points as same sort of points as Land Raider, or even if you just let them take a Land Raider, at least then you could deal with, you know, any, well, you wouldn't be able to deal with any vehicles, but you'd be able to feel like you're able to put up a fight against any vehicles that come up. God forbid you come up against an Imperial Knights list and all you've got is flamethrowers, greatswords and bolt guns. At 1,000 points I faced off against... At 1,000 points I faced off against Tempestus Scions. It was like two Taurochs and a Valkyrie, and it was horrible trying to take those down. In the end, to take down the Valkyrie I had to use the Flamers. I've said on Twitter about painting this army as well. I'm not going to be painting absolutely everything on stream, because some things are going to require that I use the magnifying glass to see things, and I can't really do that on camera because that's, you know, ring light above my head. So if I try and use that, the light is too intense into this camera and into this camera for me to be able to actually show you anything. It's going to be a nice event, I hope. This will be my third time there. It's always been a bit of fun. It is not a super serious tournament. They expect you to show up with a reasonably fun list. It is not a tournament to go there and beat the snot out of everyone and strut around saying, yeah, I'm the best. There's always one or two people that are going to try and do that sort of stuff. But that's not the spirit of the event, so it's not a huge problem. It's not to say you shouldn't show up there to win. No. Don't break out the Imperial Knights and go, I'm going to stomp over all of you sort of event. Take a few choices that aren't optimal. I'm getting notifications left, right, and centre at the moment. Nothing that's going to get me in trouble if I ignore it. It's the way it always happens though. You get to live stream and then all of a sudden it's text messages and phone calls and I'm not going to be too careful of the gold on here just for the minute, because much like this one, I'm going to need to come in and fix the gold on it later anyway. I had considered doing the spear a different colour to signify that it's flaring, because he doesn't look very different from a normal custodian guard. But I couldn't work out what sort of colour I'd do that wouldn't clash with the other colours in the army. The hope is, with all the kids back at school, well, one of them's home today because he had a dentist appointment this morning to have a cavity filled, but with all the kids being back at school starting today, I want to be able to do a live stream almost every school day, just so that I can get some progress made. Because otherwise I know what I'll do. I will sit there and I'll procrastinate. Then I'll show up to the event with a 3-colour minimum army that's not got me details, and then hate myself because I get a low painting score. I started painting small details on some other units, like that's the top knots for the Terminators. I've tried to keep all, like I said, I've tried to keep all the heads apart so that it'll be easy to just try and paint them. There's lots of leather straps on the Custodies, so we're going to use some dryad bark for that, for the base coat. Let's drop of water on the wet palette right where I didn't want it. Hopefully that won't screw me over too badly. There's things like their hands are actually in gloves, except for the fingers. Which is sort of a weird choice. There's also on the side of the legs. The belt doesn't. You can't see his dagger scabbard. I can't give you good reasons to why I chose Aquilian Shield to start with. I just thought thematically it kind of made sense for how I viewed what my Custodes army will be. Where they show up, they protect someone, and then maybe take off later. Hopefully having a job well done. But all the colour schemes look kind of cool, and I think the purple was just the reason I went, yeah, I'm going to do that. And it took a bit of time to try and find the right gold that I wanted to use, because I didn't want to do the standard Retributor armour, highlight with Auric armour gold, sort of thing. Custodes armies already don't really stand out from each other, so I wanted a different gold, and I ended up going with, for the base colours, Necro Gold from Scale 75, part of their Metal and Alchemy range. And I like that it's not a standard gold. It shows up a little bit on camera, but there's a bit of a green tint to it. So that's nice for setting some colour variation from other armies, but it also means that since gold contrasts a little with the purple, that it gives a little bit more pop there too. One thing that I do find really weird about the Valerian model, and I've mentioned this to a couple of the locals, in the second book that he's in, he gives away his Misericordia. And where I'm up to in that book, he doesn't have a new one yet. So I'm kind of wondering, did they make a mistake with the model and the rules? Does he not have a Misericordia anymore because he gave it to a Leia? Or does he get another one at some point in the story? Because a Leia in the model has his Misericordia. I'm also going to have a look when I finish painting all of these. I've considered into some of the deep recesses glazing in Waywatcher green to make that green pop a little more, but I haven't worked out if that's a good idea or not yet. I'm probably going to test it on one of the models that I'm not taking. That way, if it turns out to be a bad idea, I'm repainting one model that I'm not taking to an event rather than repainting one that I have to take to an event. Just a drop of the Necro Gold. And one of my metallics brushes. And some of the extra things, like there's a what looks like a Crux Terminalis hanging off the spear. I'm going to do that in the Retributor armor, just so that it's a slightly different gold to what's on the model. Variation is really important. I think the spike on the back needs to be silver, so I'll probably do that in lead belcher. Don't get too far ahead of myself. Don't start trying to blend the power weapon. Make sure I've got all of the other details done first. It would be silly to jump too far ahead. It's always so tempting to just, yeah, I'm going to do this part, I'm going to do this part, I'm going to do this part. And then I never get anything done, which is probably part of the reason I haven't painted this army already. I keep jumping to other projects, like getting the swamp basing video done. Still some gold showing up through the black here. So while I wait for the browns to dry. I'm trying very hard to be productive today. I've even got dinner in the oven already. It's going to be a roast pork for dinner. And since I've got to go out and pick the kids up from school, I figured I'd get most of it done now. Or at least start getting it cooked now, so I can turn it off while I'm out. And then just have to kind of reheat it when I get home. The way traffic's been in town, it could be a little bit before I get home. Clean, clean, clean. Which one's that one? Yep. So for the gems, what I've been doing is just painting around it in chainmail with the fine brush. Yeah, Game Air chainmail by Vallejo. And yeah, I know I should get the plain model one, but since it's such a small detail, it doesn't matter. So on the gems, I just paint around the entire gem in the silver. I have trouble spotting the gems because of my eyesight, so I probably missed one right there. Double check everything. Double check him. Ah, yeah, the belt buckle. It's the same design. Ah, yeah, I see it now. Yep. Tidy that up later. Where else have we got him? Oh, yeah. So he still has those ones, by the looks of it. This one I sat there with a magnifying glass to try and identify all the gems. Different shoulder, so there's no gem there. Alright. And then I don't know how many people actually use this. Like, GW released the gem paints, so I just use them because that's exactly what they're designed for. I never see anyone use them. While I wait for the silver to dry, back with some more leather. Wrong brush, but oh well, it's already got paint on there now. I'm not sure if the metal caps on the back of the hands are supposed to be gems as well. At some point I might have to have a look at that on the GW website, because they've got points on the back of the knuckles that look like they could be gems. Last couple little spots to touch up with the black. Around here. There. Hopefully my audio is not dropping out too low because I'm mumbling to myself instead of talking to the microphone that's dangling there. And I had to downscale the camera resolution so that OBS had, well, not to OBS, but because it was flashing on OBS and having some graphical bugs, because the camera's trying to put out 1080 at 60 frames per second, but my capture card is rubbish. So unless I downscale it to 720 at 20 frames per second, everything's glitchy and horrible, and the entire bottom of the half of the screen keeps flashing. So at some point I've got to buy a new capture card. I bought the cheapest one I could because I just wanted to get started. And now the cheaping out decision has bitten me in the backside. Right. Back to the metal brush. Some lead belcher. So that'll be for barrel of the bolter, the magazine of the bolter, and the spike on the back of the spear. I'm not sure about any other spots it'll do with it at the moment. And yeah, I don't drill my barrels out because I'm terrible at it. The way I see it, if you're looking at my models close enough that you can see the barrels aren't drilled out, you're probably seeing stuff that's a lot worse than that. Find an extra mold line somewhere and, oh, you didn't paint that colour. Yeah, I'm doing this for fun, not because I'm professional. We have the same thing over here. Barrel that's not drilled. Slightly different magazine for his weapon. This one's a drum. If I was a more talented modeler, I would actually love to give a cape to Valerian, but I'm not. I don't think I could even get close to doing a good cape at the moment. I've seen quite a few people do wonderful green stuff capes and robes and stuff for Dark Angels, and I would love to be able to do that one day, but that's the sort of thing that if I do it, I'm going to do it for an entire army and practice on every model until I can do it for anything. But I am very much a green stuff noob. Don't see why there's 2 ejection ports on this, but only 1 barrel. Alright, and this is going to be one of the hardest things I've done for a long time. Is to paint these swirls without getting it all over the black. That is supposed to be like an eagle's head or something. So very carefully paint that in. Yeah, I should use a painting handle for this at some point. I need to find where I put my other painting handles. I only have one sitting in front of me. The others are probably sitting behind the paint rack. Gently, gently. And there's a mistake. It's okay, that one's easy to fix. And gently, gently. And gently, gently. Gently, gently, gently. I'm going to say that word so much that it's going to lose all meaning. Some black back in there. And back there. Huzzah! Well, I didn't screw it up that badly. How does it look on camera? Yep. That's one of those flashes I was talking about. Yeah, it shows up okay. Don't overload the brush. Yeah, it would have been really nice if when they made the Valerian model they put a little more effort in than just he has golden laurels. I'm pretty sure there's exactly the same custodian guard in the box. They've just added that. And a different head, I suppose, but it wasn't a hell of a lot of effort. There's so many cool, like, action posy custodians that it's just kind of a little underwhelming that one of the two named characters, both the named characters actually, have the exact same pose, I'm pretty sure. Because Trajan doesn't have an action pose. He's just standing there with his axe. Tidy up the black there. What time are we at? Yeah, I'd like to be able to stream overnight as well, but at the moment that's just not possible because the kids trying to get them to sleep at the moment is a nightmare. One of the girls has been having major tantrums every bedtime. So it's kind of impractical for me to say, I'm going to stream at 8 o'clock when I can't get the kids to sleep until like 9. And by 9 o'clock at night, my body's not really cooperating with me anymore. And then I have issues where I just can't keep painting. At some point I do want to move all my painting sort of stream setup, everything out into the garage. I do have the streaming computer out there now, which is going to be fantastic for, I'll be able to like play a game of 40k and stream it. I will not have good camera controls, but I'll be able to stream a game of 40k. So as the army comes a bit closer to being completed, I might even do some test games for the event and stream them, if I can get some of the guys interested and if we all have times that line up and stuff like that. Because they've all got, well, very few of them live actually where I live. And then they've got their own families and stuff they've got to deal with as well, so it'd be nice if we can make it happen. Of course, over time I've got to get, you know, a new capture card, and at the moment I'm using a couple of 1080 webcams and a camcorder. So I either need to get some more camcorders or some more webcams or something so that I can cover more angles and stuff like that. There's also the idea of doing some paint streams where I have a couple of people on, a couple of mates come over and they'll draft paint. So the first one might pick Avalon Sunset, the next one might pick Corn Red, so on until there's 10 paints, and they've got to use between them only those 10 paints. They can mix them, blend them, whatever they want, but the only paints they're allowed to use are those 10. And they will have a 2-hour time limit and the exact same model to come up with whatever paint scheme they want. And then we'd put it out to the community to vote on which one they thought was best. Wouldn't exactly be, you know, getting many prizes or anything because that costs money. But I think it could be a bit of fun. And for some of the more leisurely speeded painters that are around, it might be a good bit of a chance for them to try and practice painting a bit faster. And most of them are still faster than me because I don't paint very often anymore. You know, picking up some extra techniques, getting some practice. One of the reasons I don't get as much practice as I'd like is that my body just doesn't cooperate. Even now I can feel my body complaining that I've been sitting at the desk too long. Some Screamer Pink. Let's try and break up the colours here because there's this tassel here, the rope that goes down, another rope there. Very carefully. I'll probably wash this with some Nuln oil once it's dry. Don't know if I'll go too far into highlighting a little piece of rope. Where is it? That one? I don't think it's that one, because that's the layer one. I've got to find. That might work. Put one back over there where it belongs. I haven't opened this pot yet because I bought some new paints recently that I didn't have. So I want to check out some of the colouring, because this might be a nice Gelvorback red. Yeah, it's a bit darker than the Screamer Pink. So this might be a nice one for the sections of the spear. Most going to be the handle here. That doesn't differentiate itself very much from the Screamer Pink. Oh. It will still work. At the very least, it's just an extra colour that's on the model. He doesn't have any ropes dangling down. I do notice that I've missed out on... So normally when I'm painting bolt guns, I'd actually paint this part here in silver as well. Which here looks like it goes all the way to there. So let's do that. I just noticed on Valerian's one, you can actually see the grip there. Where on this one, you kind of can't, because it's all covered by detailing. Retributor armor. I said I wanted to do these Crux Terminatus looking thingies in a different colour. So needs more mixing. Yeah, I haven't highlighted Valerian's armor at all, by the way. Not yet. I don't know why, but I haven't. I probably should have been highlighting the armor before I started laying in other colours. Oh well. I think I'm actually running out of time for all of the other stuff I've got to do today. So I think from there, we're just going to call it for the day. I will be getting more stuff done on these guys, but for now I've got to be ducking in and out, sorting stuff out for dinner, go pick up the kids, stop in at the dentist, lots of crap. Yeah, I'll try and get a heap more models to the same point where I'm at with Valerian, and then just work through extra steps as we go through. And I've got to work out how I'm going to base them, because all of my Sisters of Silence that I've painted so far, all of my Space Marines, everything is all based as a city base. So I kind of want to do that with Custody so that it all ties together. So all my Imperium stuff is a city. I'm not sure yet. We'll burn that bridge when we get there. Have a good one, guys.